where Elizabeth, North Carolina is. You see there are protesters who are out here. Folks have been protesting since last Wednesday when Andrew Brown Jr. was shot and killed by several sheriff's deputies as they serve an arrest warrant at his home here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. This is a city of 17,000 people, about 50-50 African-American and white. Tensions have been running high because of the sheriff's department. They have not been transparent and unwilling to release the body camera footage that took place on that particular day. They have been very scant in releasing details about what took place as well. Here's what we know as of now. Last week, when this took place, it was on Wednesday morning around 8 a.m. when these sheriff's deputies descended upon his home, Andrew Brown Jr.'s home, in the 400 block of Perry Street. There was an altercation. They came out, guns blazing, firing shots into his car. He then tried to get away from them. He spun out, drove the car across the street, crashed into the tree in a neighbor's yard, and that's where he died. Now, today at 11:30 a.m., there was supposed to be an opportunity for the family and their lawyers to actually watch the body camera footage. That was the agreement with the sheriff. They got here at 11:30, but it wasn't ready. They were told they had to redact the video, blur the faces of the officers involved. That was the first issue. Then what took place, they came back at 1:30. They were supposed to see the video. Then there was drama as to who would be allowed to see the video. They tried to say only one or two family members. Then the county attorney would not allow the actual lawyers in. He then asserted only attorneys who are under the jurisdiction of the North Carolina Bar Association, they could go in. Folks, that's actually unheard of. There was a news conference today where Ben Crump, Bakari Sellers, and others, the other attorneys, were angry with what took place. They said they've never seen anything like this before. Here is a roundup of that news conference here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
We want to say on the record from the onset, we do not feel that we got transparency. We only saw a snippet of the video when we know that the video started before and after what they showed the family. And they determined what was pertinent. Why couldn't the family see all the video? They only showed one body cam video, even though we know there were several body cam videos if they were following the law and the policy in this county that everybody has video cameras on their uniforms. Furthermore, and you're going to hear from Attorney Sellers and Attorney Daniels on this matter, to add insult to injury, they wanted to have just the two family members see the video with no legal counsel, as if they did not have a right to have their legal counsel present when they watched this execution of their loved one. And we have to keep demanding transparency because we do not feel what the county attorney offered was transparency at all. And so it's very emotional, not only the video, but how this family was disrespected, even in the aftermath. You talk about insult on top of injury. But be not dismayed. The truth will come out. The video will be seen by the public, and we will get justice for Andrew Brown Jr. These police officers will be held accountable.
We want to highlight. I want to highlight the disrespect to this family. I want to highlight the broken system of justice we have in this country. As we're going through this process, we told the family that they would have their attorneys in there as some comfort. We went back and forth, and I just want you to say I've never been talked to like I was talked to in there. Wow. I don't know his name, but
Mike Cox. That's his name.
I went to the back, and I know that we're live on the news around the world, so I will say that Mr. Cox told me, a grown black man, that he was not fucking going to be bullied.
Wow.
And so I walked out, and I want you to know that the sheriff was very, very apologetic and diplomatic. The sheriff wanted to make sure that the family saw the video, but it was the county attorney that gave us this back and forth. But let's not focus just on the disrespect shown to me. Let's focus on the disrespect shown to this family. One body cam, 20 seconds in execution. One body cam, 20 seconds in an execution. And so with all due respect, I know there were a lot of people who thought last week's verdict was justice, and I told you then it wasn't justice, because we still can't get justice and accountability today. I'm only going to be brief because I'm hot right now. But I do want to say a special prayer goes out to this family. Because Khalil saw his father executed. But he's been the strongest one of us all.
Yeah.
So lift him up in your prayers.
Amen.
And then, as we say in South Carolina, I know we in North Carolina, to the county attorney and everybody else, bless his heart.
This family had a fundamental right for transparency that was denied by the county officials of Pasquotank County, specifically the county attorney, because he don't know how to interpret the laws of North Carolina. His position that you had to be an authorized, a licensed attorney in the state of North Carolina to represent folk. I offered him the ability to read the state bar rules, the rules of the bar. He didn't want to read it. We offered the attorney general to him. He didn't want to talk to him. We offered the governor. He told Bakar he's not going to be bullied. 20 seconds. 20 seconds is not transparency when you got multiple officers gunning down a man with his hands on the steering wheel and trying to get away. We will have justice. We will have justice.
Let's be clear. This was an execution. Andrew Brown was in his driveway. The sheriff truck blocked him in his driveway, so he could not exit his driveway. Andrew had his hands on his steering wheel. He was not reaching for anything. He wasn't touching anything. He wasn't throwing anything around. He had his hands firmly on the steering wheel. They run up to his vehicle shooting. He still stood there, sat there in his vehicle with his hands on the steering wheel while being shot at. Now, keep in mind, this is 20 seconds. I have 3 pages of notes for 20 seconds. We watched this over and over and over to make sure we were clear at what was going on and what was transpiring. He finally decides to try to get away, and he backs out, not going towards the officers at all. There was at no time in the 20 seconds that we saw where he was threatening the officers in any kind of way. He was trying to evade being shot. So he backs out, not forward, but backs out away from the officers who still shooting at him, yelling, "Stop it, motherfucker, goddamn motherfucker." Constant obscenities being yelled at him while he's being shot at in the driveway of his home in Pasquotank County, North Carolina. I'm taking my time, y'all, but it was 20 seconds. He finally backs out, and then he goes around to get out of danger. He goes around, still avoiding any interaction with the officers, still trying to make sure he did not threaten them in any way, that they were not in danger in any way. He backs out, goes around them, and they're still shooting at him while he's driving off. He drives off, the car runs into a tree, and they are still running behind him. Let me make sure I get this right with these guns that were there. Bushmaster AR-223s and Glock 17 handguns. It was numerous.
So that was assault.
Numerous assault rifles were at the scene. We saw one video, 20 seconds from one body cam. It was at least 8 officers there. We only saw one body cam. It was a sheriff's truck there. We didn't see any dash cam video. We just saw that one body cam. And he was still shooting. Excuse me.
Hold on.
Yeah, he was still. I just want to make it clear that they were still shooting at him after the car had already crashed into a tree. They were still in the stance of shooting towards him. His car is riddled with bullets from them shooting at him when he was not threatening them in any kind of form or fashion.
Like we against all odds in this world. My dad got executed just by trying to save his own life. You know, he was not in the officers was not in no harm of him at all. It's just messed up how this happened, man. For real.
Last one. The video you saw, was the police vehicle marked or unmarked?
Marked.
It was marked.
Yes.
Were they in uniform or were they not?
Some of them was in SWAT. Some of them had on jeans and khakis with the upper part in uniform.
In the audio portion, did you hear them identify themselves? Did you hear them say to him who they were and he had to stop?
They had cut that part out. 20 seconds, we didn't get a lot. All they said was, hold on, let me look at my note, make sure I get it correct.
Take your time.
Second one, guns drawn, pointing at him while his hands are on the steering wheel. Let me see your hands. His hands on the steering wheel. It was at least 5 on the driver's side pointing the guns at him. Let me see your hands. That's what it started at the 1 second mark.
So you did not see the beginning, them driving up?
No.
You see that?
No.
The beginning of this video was them standing, guns pointed at him.
Yes.
Shots were already being fired.
Shots already been fired by the time we saw it. And then someone was running from the other side of the street, another officer.
So you not before, but what you saw, as soon as the video starts, you already hear shots.
Yes.
And to my understanding, the body cam that was shown was an officer furthest away, not the officers who were right in front of him.
Right.
So that's the body cam they showed.
So there were 5 cops standing on the driver's side. You did not see the body cam from those 5 cops. That was unvantage.
No, we didn't see that.
So what was the vantage point? Behind the car, side of the car?
On the side of the car, running across the street. So they were running. He was running. The officer that we saw
From the other side of the truck.
Right.
So it wasn't any of the ones who were shooting?
He was shooting too at some point.
But he's further away.
Yes.
Yeah. In the video started with the shots coming. It was an execution in Elizabeth City from second one.
Yeah, let me just help you all answer the questions about the discernment between what was shown and what was not shown.
Yes, them.
You got to ask them.
All right, folks. It was, of course, again, lots of confusion there. The sheriff's department, the county, not being forthcoming at all. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Folks, it has been 6 days since Andrew Brown, since he was shot and killed here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. You see, we were at the spot where he was shot and killed. You see what they have done is they've actually placed these candles out here where it says Drew. This is his home right here. Folks, the answers are still not forthcoming as to exactly what is going on, what caused the sheriff's deputies to shoot and kill Andrew Brown Jr. No one knows yet, and we're still trying to figure that out. Here's the fundamental problem. The county, the district attorney, the sheriffs, they still are not talking with anyone. They still are not communicating with the family. Today, there was a news conference here in Elizabeth City. In this particular news conference, where the attorneys for the family, they talked about the independent autopsy that was conducted on behalf of the family and laid those results out. But still, folks, we have not heard from the district attorney. We don't even know who's leading this investigation, if an investigation has even started, if the deputy sheriffs, if they have actually been interviewed. Here's a roundup from today's news conference.
We commissioned a private individual autopsy report, postmortem report, because we don't have access to anything that's official. And what our preliminary autopsy report shows is that there were 5 penetrating bullet wounds to the body of Andrew Brown Jr. Now, consistent with what you have probably already heard, is that the first initial shots were through the front windshield of the vehicle that he was located in at the time that.
Hold on 1 second. They're trying to do surveillance on us.
What you probably heard already, and you heard yesterday when Ms. Lassiter gave her recitation of what she saw on the video yesterday, was that Mr. Brown had his arms up on the steering wheel of the vehicle that he was then located in. And what happened was that there were 4 bullet wounds to his right arm. These bullet wounds, according to the autopsy, were more or less glancing shots. They were not fatal shots. So he was able to back up as these shots were coming into the vehicle. He was able to back up, turn the vehicle around, spin off across a vacant lot, and at that time, he was hit in the back of the head here, and that is the fatal bullet wound that was described in the death certificate as a penetrating bullet wound to the skull. And that was the cause of death, that was the manner of death by gunshot. So we now know, because we have not been able to get any official documentation concerning this shooting, that this, in fact, was a fatal wound to the back of Mr. Brown's head as he was leaving the site, trying to evade being shot at by these particular law enforcement officers who we believe did nothing but a straight-out execution by shooting him in the back of his head as he was trying to get away in a moving vehicle, which no doubt is also against police practice to shoot into a moving vehicle to a person who posed no threat whatsoever to the officers then and there on the scene. So in summary, his death was caused by these officers with a bullet wound to the back of his head that caused him to lose control of that vehicle and crash into a tree. And I think once the video actually comes out, we're going to also find out that there were shots into that vehicle after it crashed into the tree and after he had been hit in the back of the head. The certificate also says that the time of death was within minutes within minutes after this particular gunshot wound to the back of the head.
Folks, if you see exactly what is going on here, again, Henry, go to the drone shot. So, folks, what you're seeing is an overhead shot right now of this scene here, and what you're seeing right here is you can actually see the tire tracks, and so you can see me down here. These are the tire tracks that are right here. Here we come back to me. So, folks, this is what he was describing. Where I'm standing, literally, Andrew Brown Jr. was pointing in at that particular direction right there. Let's actually go back to the drone shot. What you'll see, folks, is you see where the black truck is. The police came down that particular street, and they pulled up where our tent is, where our Roland Martin Unfiltered tent is. And according to the attorney you just saw, that was a tent. Okay, then they parked right there. You can come back to me. Brown was literally in this spot where I am standing in his vehicle then when they came in. And so what then happened was shots began to get fired. What they then did was he tried to run away. Let's go back to the drone shot. What you'll see is you will see the tire marks. You see the tire marks where he basically backed up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the drone down so you can actually see even more so these particular tire marks to understand exactly what took place. And so you see right here, you can actually see visibly where you have those double tracks right there. Okay, you see those double tracks where he basically spun out in that direction. That's why you see the mud splattered up against the wall. And then, of course, and then he came out. And then what he then did was he drove across the street. So just to give you this particular vantage point, I'm going to do this here. Here you can come back to me. I'm going to spin this drone around so people can actually see from this particular perspective right here. Going to show this here. And so this, let me go pull up here. Okay, it's all good. Just take the drone shot. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spin it around. And so this is the direction right here. You will see. So he's went in this direction right here, and that's the home of Michael Gordon. I got it wrong yesterday, so he told me, he said, you got to get it right. And so basically what Drew did was, and let me just sort of simulate this, folks, for you, if you will, and that is he was basically coming in this direction. He was basically coming in this direction. Then all of a sudden, his car was coming across here. His car is coming across here. They continue to fire the shots. That is the home right there of Mr. Michael Gordon. And then the bullets went into the home there. And then you will see it went right. And then this is where, right here, is where Andrew Brown ended up. His car crashed into that particular tree right there. And, folks, that's when that's exactly where he died. Now, what we also want to show you is this here. There was a police camera. There was a police camera. I'm going to bring this back. Sorry, folks. So we got some cars that are coming. I don't want our drone to get hit. And the drone just got hit. But we'll fix that. Yeah, I know the car was coming. Anthony, you go get the drone, take care of it. Yeah, literally just got hit. Just got hit there. So here's the deal, folks. So here's what happened. Okay. So here's what happened here. Okay. So here's what happened here. Okay. There's a police camera. There's a police camera. There's a city camera that is sitting up here. There's a city camera that is sitting up here. That city camera captured what took place here. The problem is the sheriff, they now have the camera. We've been trying to get access to that particular video, have not been able to get access to it. We put in a freedom of request form for that video. We put a freedom of request form for that video, have not been able to get the video just yet. So that's what we're doing, okay?
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends, Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I showed you that walkthrough with the attorney, Wayne Kendall. And then we walked across the street and we talked with Michael Gibson. Michael Gibson lives in the home with his wife, married 38 years. It was in his yard where Andrew Brown Jr.'s car crashed into a tree. Listen to him describe the aftermath. And not only that, one of those stray bullets fired by the cops, a high-caliber weapon, came through his home, went through 2 walls. If Michael Gibson if he had waited, because he said his wife went to work first, and then he went to work before that. They both left before 8 o'clock. This took place around between 8:20 and 8:26. If Michael Gibson had delayed his leaving home by 15, 20 minutes, and if he had been sitting at his kitchen table, Michael Gibson likely would be dead, because that bullet literally came through at the height of where he would be sitting in his kitchen. Listen to his description. Man, talk about scary. So that Wednesday morning, you, your wife, and daughter were not here?
No, we weren't here. My daughter doesn't live here. It's just my wife and I reside here.
So no one was here?
No one was here.
Thank goodness.
Amen, brother. And my wife left about 7:45, and I left about 8:15. My brother and I went to Lowe's. And when I had to come back home, get him a shop to get something else. So when we got coming from down Lowe's, coming down Patrick River Roanoke, they told us that we couldn't come in, that we had to find another way to get in. So we left and went back out of Roanoke, come back through, went down Walker Avenue, got to Walker Avenue, still couldn't let us in. Said something had happened. But when I got down and turned on Ray Street, one of the young ladies that used to live in that house, she told me, said that they had just shot Drew. And I'm like, who is Drew? You know. So they said, the guy that lives in front of you where the house that I used to live in. I said, what? They shot him? Said, yeah, they shot him about 8 times what she heard, since she heard the shots. So my brother and I said, look, man, let's go on what we got to do. So we went and started working. So when I'm working, my brother and I, we don't keep our phones with us. We leave them in the truck. So when we did knock off, it was about maybe 1:15. And I had about 36 missed phone calls. My brother had break many. So he called his wife. Well, his wife called him and told him that I needed to get home. Mike needs to get home because they done shot in his house. So I'm like, shot in my house? You know, but I didn't see none of this. I mean, they wouldn't even let us get those orange recycling bins down there. That's as far as they would allow us to get. I couldn't see none of this. But matter of fact, at that time, there wasn't no tent or nothing in my yard. It was just cops. There wasn't nothing in the yard. Evidently, I didn't see the car, I didn't see anything. But anyways, when I did allow us to, I got in contact with my wife. I called her and she says that my daughter had had followed her home, and they was already here when I got here. So I had to wait until the officers give me permission to come home. But my daughter and my wife was already in the house, you know, sweeping up glass. So my daughter says, Dad, you breaking the thing before you leave this morning? She said, no, Dad ain't broke nothing. If I would, I've gotten it up. So she was coming to sweeping up glass. So she asked me, "What kind of glass, Daddy, y'all got in here that's gold around the trim and clear?" And I said, and I looked around. I said, "That's my clock." So then when I looked up, that's when I seen where the projectile had come through and went through my clock and on the wall where my wife sat about a foot above her head where she sits across the room. Then I'm going wild. Now they done shot through my house. So now where they doing shooting in my house? That's where I am. So then I goes in the kitchen and find looking at where I'm, because I'm ex-military. I looked at where things might have went or might have been, and then I look where my crock pot sits on the counter, and I see the indentation in my crock pot, and I look down on the floor, and I see the projectile.
Was that a 223 bullet?
It was already bam. It had impacted, but it didn't look. It was heavy enough. It didn't look like no pistol round to me.
Right. Well, 223 bullet is real small.
Yeah, well, this here bullet there, the impact on it wasn't no bigger than that. When it hit the impact, that metal, when it slowed it down some when it went through that wood.
So that hole right there, that's the bullet.
Yes,
that's the bullet hole.
That's where
it went through here, then went
through my other side of my front room.
Do you mind if we come in?
Through the front room and then
through my
from the
kitchen.
front room to the kitchen.
It hit right there.
Yeah, it started right here.
Oh.
It increased this.
Wow.
Man.
Wow. So that changed the trajectory.
That's
wow.
right. It brought it down.
That.
It brought it down.
So it came from there, through there, through the front room,
through the side of the room,
through the side of the room,
through my kitchen,
through the kitchen,
and on my counter.
Man. Thank goodness nobody was home.
Praise God for that. And see, that's what I was trying to explain to them. They don't understand. And I got people coming in, baby. You hear me, honey? Yes, it came through. You can look outside and see that.
So this is the clock.
Yes, you can see where it came in. If you come over here, you can see daylight.
Right here, you can see that hole. So that's you can see the daylight right here. You can see right through that hole.
Yeah, you can see through there.
So it came through here.
It came through there, and then this is where my wife sits all the time. It hit this picture and went through there.
Man. Got it.
And then once it hit here, it came through that wall into this side wall here, and came through this wall and hit here.
Wow. So if y'all had
If
not,
I sat there at eating breakfast like I do, that round would have went through Michael's head. See, you know.
Wow.
And
so you said your wife left first. You left a little bit after that.
Right.
This happened around 8:30.
You're right.
If for whatever reason, if y'all were 30 minutes late or whatever,
We'd have been right here. And then it hit my crock pot right
here and hit the crock pot.
Yeah,
right
it hit my crock pot right here.
I see the indentation right there.
It hit it there and it landed up down there on the floor.
Man.
If I sat there, it's dead center of my head when I sat in my chair eating breakfast.
Yeah, right here.
Right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, sitting right there, man, and it's crazy. So,
Man.
I mean, I just try to tell them, I'm not mad with them guys, but the thing with it is, you don't shoot like that. Don't do that. This is the residential area. You got the social services down there. You got the health department down there. You got a school down there. And people walk past this house and this yard and this sidewalk every day. And it doesn't make sense to discharge. If I had shot in an occupied dwelling, those people would have had me on the ground with their knee in my damn neck.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'd have had me locked down by now.
Yep.
They'd have had me, the young man, Michael Gordon, proud veteran, shooting in houses. They'd have had me jacked up. And it's crazy. So,
How long did you know Andrew? Did you know him well?
Yeah, I knew his dad, I knew his mother, and I knew him when he was a little puppy. I know him when he was a little puppy. But he didn't get no trouble around here in the hood. You know, whatever he did or whatever they said he done, I don't know, because, you know, I didn't affiliate myself with too many people in the hood. But he hadn't been recently about a good, I'll say 5 months, maybe less than that, and moved over there. You know. For some apparent reason, don't nobody stay over there long.
Well, thank God you and your wife and your daughter.
Yes, wasn't here, man, because like I say, that's what I'm really highly pissed off about. She's still upstairs laying down there. She's trying to get it together. But I'm telling you, man, I mean, I've been married 38 years, and something happened to my wife, man. I mean, you know, it's like this.
Right.
You know, if she perish, she perish. But don't let nobody shoot in my damn house and kill my wife and shoot my wife.
Right.
See, they get me on the edge. You know what I mean? That's going to have me all crazy and jacked up. You know, and that's crazy.
Well, we appreciate you letting us in. We appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man. You're welcome. But I appreciate y'all for taking time out to hear this story tonight.
Yes,
you know, I know how the job went, and they should know better than that.
Yep. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Have you ever heard anything like what you heard today, Bernarda, where the county attorney says you can't if you're not under the jurisdiction of the North Carolina bar, you can't come in, and then only releasing 20 seconds of the video. The actions out here have been just astounding.
Roland, that first part is so shady. I have never heard that in my life, and I've been practicing law, for 16 years, and I was a prosecutor for 16 years. That's the first I ever heard of that. So let's be real, and this is the problem, that when you have police-involved killings of anyone, any type of person, African-American person, whatever other race, the reality is that there should be a separate division, a separate entity that should be investigating those police officers. The same thing goes with the prosecutor's office. That prosecutor's office for that county that only has, I believe, 18,000 people in that county should have a prosecutor outside of that county that's investigating this case, because the ties are just too close when you're talking about the police officers and the prosecutors in this case. That's the first problem that you have here. So the attorney general should be stepping in and either prosecuting the case themselves or assigning a separate prosecutor's office to investigate the case on the prosecution side, and then a separate entity on the law enforcement side to investigate this case. Because, you know, if there is no transparency, there is no trust in the system, regardless of what the outcome of this case would be.
But in my conversation with Reverend Dr. William Barber, Bernarda, the AG just simply can't take it over. He has to be actually asked to take it over by the district attorney. The problem here is that the DA is missing in action. I asked the question specifically at the news conference, and I think we included it, folks. If we didn't, please find it, where I specifically asked, was the DA's office present? Bakari Sellers said no. So how in the world can you have a situation where the sheriff's office, there are several officers
who were involved in this shooting, and the sheriff's office is running the investigation, and they are redacting video. That's where the DA's office should have taken this thing over.
Absolutely, Roland. This is pure nonsense. And I thank God that you are out there at the very beginning and showing you this nonsense, showing us this nonsense so the people can actually see. That prosecutor for that county is elected. So for the citizens of that county, where's your prosecutor that you elected? Where's the person that you put on charge to be held accountable for any crimes that take place in your jurisdiction and your county? Where are you? This is a shame to all prosecutors. That person is making the prosecutor's office look bad. That person is the prime reason why there is no trust with prosecutors or with law enforcement. That is a shame right there.
Julian Malveaux, you spent time here in North Carolina, as I said, President Emerita of Bennett College. And in my conversations here with people who are here in Elizabeth City, one of the things that they've said is that in many ways, black folks here have been ignored. And in fact, I talked to the president of the NAACP chapter, and he said, rarely do we even get North Carolina news here. Last night, I was watching television. I saw more Virginia television commercials than I did from North Carolina. And they said that they are often ignored. They are often not paid attention to. News media here does not really focus on them as well. And so they said it's important to have national voices shining a light, demanding these answers, because otherwise they will just simply ignore them. In fact, it's media organizations that are going to court on Wednesday to try to get the body cam footage released.
You know, Roland, Carolina is a very interesting state. There's aspects of it that are rather progressive, but aspects that simply are not. There are some parts of it that are back in the 19th century. And in terms of crimes against black people, often basically shoved under the rug. I could tell you stories, which I won't. I think I've told you a couple of them before about, the differential justice that even our students got. So black students at Bennett and A&T were held to a much harsher standard than the Helen deficient. I mean, a couple of stories don't even bear on the air, except for one where a young white boy actually defecated on a police and they think he can drink. Meanwhile, some of my girls had a little tea party. By little, I mean the music came out of their laptop. How loud possibly they didn't have speakers, and they were taken to jail. So this is the difference. This is far less impactful than the execution of the man. So we know that this is all about so-called unconscious bias. I don't even. I think.
Hold tight 1 second, Julian, we're having some issues with your audio. We're having some issues with your audio. You're literally hearing every other word. So we're going to try to work on that and fix that. Bernard, I want to go back to you. 20 seconds. My God, 20 seconds. You have a number of cops on the street. In fact, there are a couple of positions on that street where they had cameras, city-owned cameras. The sheriff's department, which is the county, has taken possession of those videos. That's the city.
This is such a shame, Roland. I mean, I'm getting so hot just sitting here, just listening to you, because this is so ridiculous of what's going on. It's a shame to the people of that county. It's a shame to the people of North Carolina. It's actually a shame and sad for us as a community to be watching how this so-called justice is playing out. Look, I don't know what happened to Mr. Andrew. I don't know. I don't know if the cops were justified. But the problem that I have with all of this is that there is no leadership, there is no transparency, and there's a whole bunch of shadiness that's going on. And that is not the way that the criminal justice system should work. That is not the way to get the trust of the community. That is not the way for the community to trust in you, the prosecutor, or to trust in you, the criminal justice system, or to trust in you in law enforcement. And that is the problem that I have. Where is the leadership? Where is the separation so there can be the appearance that there is no bias or that this investigation is not tainted? This is ridiculous. And let me just take it to another level, Roland, because in every state, there is the Victims' Rights Act. In North Carolina, there's the Victims' Rights Act. So for this man who died, his family, his son has the right to know what is going on at every crucial level of this investigation and the prosecution, if any. And that is not happening in this case. And it is a shame and it is disgusting for that city to have to show off that this is what they have to offer. It takes people like you, Roland Martin, and Ben Crump, and the other media outlets to go out there to bring that information back to us so we can know what's going on and for us to talk about it so the change that needs to happen, we can start working on it.
I think we've got Julian's audio taken care of. Julian, one of the things that folks were concerned about, first of all, and let's do this here, where we are now, again. So if you see Anthony, let's get the shot over here. So the protesters were over here. And supposedly counter-protesters in support of the police were supposed to be out here. They didn't show up. There was also some concern of people here about Antifa showing up. And one of the things that they wanted to make clear, the folks here, that they have been peaceful. They've been peacefully protesting here since the beginning, but they want to keep the pressure going. And that's really important. Julian, this is one of those moments, I dare say, that if you have what people call oftentimes a sleepy town, this is one of those things that can wake a city up, that can wake a town up, much like what happened in Ferguson with Michael Brown.
Absolutely. I think that oftentimes people swallow the injustice because it's not so vivid. This is very vivid. This man was shot, I don't know how many times, and it doesn't seem like anybody else does either, but multiple shots, unnecessary, didn't have to do it. And you see the outpouring of support from the community. This is personal. When someone says shoplifting or, noise pollution or whatever, that's not personal. People say, okay, well, those are young people, whatever. But this is really personal for a whole lot of people. And in light of the Chauvin indictment, Chauvin guilty verdict. But then last week after Chauvin, then we get this Anthony Brown situation. We get the other situation with the young lady in Columbus, Ohio. This is like if Black people were a stone rock. This is like hitting the rock, hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And, years ago, Richard Wright, the novelist of Native Son, said, it's not that I have been lynched, it's that I know about the lynching, which is a threat to me. I think that every Black man has someone been shaken. I think that every Black woman with sons has been shaken. And not even with sons, just by yourself has been shaken. And so, yes, this sleepy town can wake up. If people keep it moving, and if the so-called law enforcement does not do the wrong thing. In Florida, they pass a law about defining what's a riot and what's a this and that. If the law enforcement people work with the protesters, this can be peaceful.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. Please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
you can make this possible.
Folks, we have been talking to a number of people here in Elizabeth City. We've been talking to neighbors, again, folks who have been impacted. The bullet that went through the door of Michael Gordon right across the street here. We've been talking to individuals who grew up with Andrew Brown Jr., folks who have talked about the city councilman and so many others as well. And so we had an opportunity to talk with the head of the North Carolina State Conference of the NAACP, Reverend Dr. Spearman. He came by. They had a ministers' news conference earlier today. We're going to be streaming that news conference of the pastors after today's show. And so for that news conference of the pastors, you can see that after today's show, but we had a chance to catch up with Reverend Spearman right here at the scene of the home. Here's our conversation with him. Reverend Dr. Spearman, y'all got together and you had a news conference earlier today. Talk about that.
Yes, we gathered together. The clergy, the area clergy, had an exclusive meeting with them at 2 o'clock, and the attorney, Harry Daniels, was with us on hand to provide any answers to any questions that they had. But our goal was to mobilize the pastors in the area and any ministers that may have had interest in being with us, so that we can make sure that we set the narrative straight. One of the things that was concerning to me is how on the day that they were going to show the footage to the family, that they declared a state of emergency.
Right.
Which is always, what's going to, they already knew what was going to be on the tapes, and they're basically setting us up to go and tear up stuff and all of that kind of thing, which, we don't do, but they try to compel us to do those kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah, so we called a moral state of emergency and tried to change the context and help them to understand some things, especially about the uniqueness of the black belt in the state of North Carolina. This is one of the original 40 pre-clearance counties in North Carolina that of course was eviscerated in the 2013 Supreme Court decision, Shelby versus Holden. Yeah.
Talk about again. We've spent a lot of time talking to people here. They've expressed their frustrations with the county officials here. They say you have black representation on the city council, so the issue is with this county.
Right. And that was something that I was adamant to bring out. I was intentional to bring out that, as far as I was concerned, that it wasn't even the sheriff who was the one that we should put the spotlight on, but it's the district attorney.
Right.
And the district attorney is now he's poised to run for the Superior Court seat here in the I think it's called the first prosecutorial district.
Right.
And as such, he would be the only, because the seat was occupied by Judge J.C. Cole, who was an African American for 20-some years, he and his wife. But now, if this dude wins, it would be in the hands of a white person. And in 2018, the North Carolina NAACP traveled to Washington, D.C. to oppose the confirmation of Thomas Farr to the Eastern District of North Carolina.
Right.
So there's an African American that's running, and the choice, the pick really of Judge Cole, and we're hoping that we'll see something manifest there.
Well, and the issue there, and talk about the attorneys and others, is just how the DA has been non-responsive.
Non-responsive, Roland. I have been calling the office continually. When I first called on April 21st, they told me that he was not going to be in his office until the 26th of April. And I said, that's unacceptable. You're telling me that he's out of pocket until the 26th with all of this that's going on? They gave me a number to call and told me to leave a message, which I did, and no response whatsoever. None. And the sheriff's office was likewise. So, it tells a tale on how they've been treating us and expecting us to roll over and take it for a long time. This is a stronghold. And if our people don't begin to wake up and smell the coffee and do what needs to be done, then shame on us. Because we have to rise up and start doing what we need to do to get out of all of this kind of bondage that we're faced with.
All right. Well, Reverend Theron, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
My colleagues and I wanted to come by here and see where Brother Andrew Brown Jr. was killed. Was just slaughtered.
Yep.
Slaughtered. That's what happened.
All right. So we're gonna stay on it.
You set up, boy. You set up at the right place.
I appreciate it.
God bless you, man.
Thanks
Appreciate
a lot.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Mustafa, that really is a fundamental problem that we're facing here. Folks here have been calling for transparency. The problem is we don't have transparency.
Yeah, well, they know with transparency, that means that folks are going to get the real information. Folks are even going to get even more mobilized when they see the execution of this young man. And that's exactly what it is. When you have a kill shot to the back of the head, that's an execution shot. So we understand this game that is continually being played where black folks can have their hands on the wheel of a car and be killed, or you can have your hands handcuffed behind your back and still be shot. And we see this play out time and time again where we are complying. And the interesting thing about this case is that I don't blame that brother for actually trying to drive away. If you're shooting at me, I'm trying to get away as well. That is just the natural state of someone trying to protect their lives, because we have seen across the country when you comply and when you listen to whatever the order might be from a law enforcement officer, you are literally rolling the dice with your life. So until they do better, we have to do what we have to do to try and protect ourselves.
Kelly, as someone who's a communications strategist, the folks here are failing communications 101 across the board.
Across the board. You're absolutely right. When it comes to situations like this, like the number one thing you should be doing in crisis communications is getting ahead of the story and holding yourselves accountable by controlling the narrative. Be as honest as possible, but still control the narrative. These police officers down in North Carolina aren't doing that, probably because they know that they were in the wrong, and there's no way to do this ethically. Crisis communications specialists be damned. There's no way to do this and get ahead of it in a way that makes you look good. It looks like that these cops were just simply overzealous, racially biased, and straight up wrong. When your hands are on the steering wheel, that's the number one thing that people are telling us to do as Black people. When a cop sees you, 10 and 2, make sure that everything's clear. They see your hands, all of these things. Andrew Brown did all of that, and he was still killed. And frankly, I am tired. And I know I'm not the only one. I am tired of having to explain why my life matters, why I deserve the same courtesy, why I deserve the same benefit of the doubt, why I deserve the same amount of grace as my white counterparts in these situations. Because right now, it looks like there's, you hear this analogy right now of, a few bad apples, et cetera, et cetera. This is a rotten tree. And the few bad apples are actually the good cops. What we're seeing right now is the norm. What we're seeing right now is what they are actually trained to do. The difference is it's on camera now, and they have to be held accountable for their actions now. And the fact that we are not given the same courtesy, we are not given the same grace as our white counterparts in these situations, it's absurd, especially when you see white people in the craziest situations with cops, and they are still alive at the end of the day. I'll never forget in 2016 in Florida, this man was a cannibal, eating somebody's face in front of a slew of cops, and they never took out their gun. They took out tasers. They brought in the K-9 unit. They took, it was tasers, K-9 unit, 3 deputies tackling him. He's still alive awaiting trial. And Ma'Khia Bryant is dead because she was allegedly defending herself. Andrew Brown is dead because he was trying to comply. It makes no sense that my skin is more dangerous than a white cannibal.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Well, how about this here, folks? Recently discovered Facebook post from the account of the judge who blocked the release of that footage suggests he is extremely pro-law enforcement. Shocker. In 2013, Judge Jeffrey Foster posted his support of George Zimmerman, saying George Zimmerman was found not guilty of all charges. He should have never been charged. The jury did the right thing. Fox News got it right again, and Nancy Grace has proven once again what an idiot she is. I'm now watching a bitter prosecutor rail and then deny it was about race. Shameful to the end. In 2016, he expressed his feelings against kneeling during the national anthem. And just last year, he posted this pro-police image, which is said to represent the thin line between life and death of police officers' face. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Speaking of the investigation, earlier today, when we came out to the scene here, several investigators from the State Bureau of Investigation, a couple of those investigators actually came out and they met with the landlord here. And so this is the video here of those investigators arriving on the scene here to talk to the landlord. And so what they were coming to do, they were coming to actually check to see about additional cameras. Apparently, there were cameras that were actually inside. There were cameras that was a Ring camera, and apparently there was another camera. They thought, or they were told, that there were additional cameras on the inside. They wanted to check that out, and so they went inside. They offered no comment to those of us in the media, and so that's what they did there. So after they went through the home, they were only in there. They were only in there max maybe 10 minutes. Then we had an opportunity to talk with the landlord about what they were looking for, what they were in search of. He also had an opportunity to talk to us about Andrew Brown Jr., someone that he has known since Brown was 5 years old. Of course, that's the last 37 years. So here's that conversation. So, Andre, were those investigators with the State Bureau of Investigation?
Yes, it was.
And what did they talk to you about?
They had received some information that there was some interior cameras as well as an exterior doorbell. They went in, they looked for the doorbell. Of course, it's gone. And they went inside to look for a camera in the kitchen, and it's also gone.
And when you say it's gone, were those installed by you?
No, that was installed by Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown told me himself that he had installed cameras at this residence. Because if you walk around, you see some of the windows are busted out. They were, this particular incident happened prior to. And they have pictures that there were cameras in front of the house as well as a Ring doorbell directly after the incident.
So the cameras they were removed, who removed them?
Now that I don't know, but I do know that the only people that was on scene were the investigators. When we were able to come on,
the sheriff's office,
the sheriff department, yes, and the FBI was here as well. But when we left, when we were able to come on the scene, the cameras were gone. And the doorbell was gone.
So you don't know if SBI, that was SBI.
Yeah, so they didn't take them.
So the SBI doesn't have them?
No, sir.
So it's either city, it's either DA, it's either sheriff's department.
That's right.
Who has them?
It's investigation. Somebody in the investigation unit has those cameras.
Gotcha. And so they, that's what they were really looking for.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what they were looking for.
Gotcha. How long did Mr. Brown live here?
About a year. About a year.
Got it. Describe what kind of tenant.
Oh man, awesome tenant. As I was telling the guys from CNN, is Brown came. I taught Brown basketball years ago. He was on my basketball team, and he used to always see me on the street. Hey, Simpson, rent me a place. No, I'm not renting you because you'll never pay me. You'll never pay me because I knew him, and I have a policy not to rent to people that I know. This particular day, he came to my office and he cried. He said, "Man, I got to get my kids back." The social services has 2 of my kids at this city, 2 of my kids in this city. I said, "Man, I'm going to give you a chance." And I did that. Not once did I have any problems with him. Quick story. He went to court. He was still living in a hotel. House was ready. The judge asked him, "Where are you still living?" He told the judge he was still in the hotel. The judge continued 30 to 45 more days. He could have easily told the judge that he was home, and he could have moved the process to get his kids. But he was honest with them. He was honest.
Certainly, a lot of people have expressed their feelings, the shock and dismay of what took place. How about you? Especially, that look, he was someone who lived here, and this community is still just outraged. The lack of information, the lack of transparency, not knowing who's doing what. The DA hasn't come out and said that we're taking charge of the investigation.
That's right.
No one actually knows who's actually investigating.
That's right. And you won't know that. You don't know that until you put pressure. You're going to have to put the pressure somewhere downtown for that stuff to be released. So the stuff that you guys are coming out, finding now, Elizabeth City has been experiencing this for years. Yes, sir.
And you're born and raised here?
Born and raised right here. Left 4 years, Chapel Hill, and came right back.
Okay. All right, then. We'll appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
All right, thanks a lot.
Appreciate you.
All right, thanks a lot. Take care, Doc. Be safe.
You too.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom, Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Go. All right, folks. So here's what we're trying to do. So this is not a normal or traditional DVD player. So that's part of the issue. What they did is they gave us basically it's a bunch of data that's on here. And so what we're trying to do is and it's saying this is view 1. So we're trying to sit here. We had to grab let's see, exported views. So it's in an editing system, and we're trying to actually play it here. So we're not sure like at what point is the video where it starts. We're hearing audio, so let's see if I can, there's a timeline on here, and if I can advance the timeline. We know the shooting took place it says 2 hours.
Yes, the glare. See it.
Now you can, yeah. So I know it's real hard. So we're trying to see.
Put it back again.
So we're trying to figure again. What we're trying to get, y'all. This is all on the fly. That we're trying to figure out exactly where in here is the actual shot audio. We don't know. So we're trying to. So like say, literally we are we're live here. This was the city camera, and so I'm trying to find it on here. So I'm hearing audio. So I'm trying to advance it down the timeline here. It's camera. All right, so we're trying to find it. Let me see if I can advance it. There's an ambulance here. So that's part of that's part of the issue that we have. This is not normal in terms of how video is on here. So we're trying to actually find it for you on here to figure out exactly where the video is. So let me. This says view 1. So I'm trying to go back out of here, folks, to see if we can actually find the proper view. And it says, like I'm seeing down here, all cameras in the view, Roanoke and Brooks. He's on Perry, so this is Perry Street, and so that's what we're trying to.
It's this street here.
Yeah, so I'm trying to sit here and bring in. Let me see. I have. That's not it right there. Sorry, folks. This is a PC that I have never used. So we are. So we're all experiencing this thing together. We're trying to get it for you so we can actually see it. All the files on here. So we see Roanoke and Brooks microphone and Roanoke and microphone 1. We're seeing media data on here.
and it says 1508. Let me see if this is it right here. No. Like I say, it's a lot of different functions on here. Like I said, I have not used a PC in a very long time. I'm a Mac person, so I'm under the data settings right now, trying to figure it out. Let me see if I can find Windows Media on here, and then that will allow me to play Windows Media Player open. Let me see if that'll allow me to play it. Okay. All right. Again, y'all be patient with me. Recommended settings. This is a totally new computer of our driver. So let's see here. Is this it? Okay, videos. All right, so this is cannot be played in the traditional. So I put the DVD in. I'm in Windows Media Player. It says that there's no data on here, but we do know there's data on here. So we're gonna have to spend some time with this in order to play it. So what we're gonna do, folks, is we're just going to, like I said, so it can't. So again, it's not encoded the way you normally encode video. So I can't play it in Windows Media Player. So we're gonna have to actually import it into an editing system, which is what I did. And so, and this is the editing system. I have no idea what it is, and so we're trying to figure it out. What's going on? So let's just do this here. We are going to like literally it's saying connected to camera, and and I'm not sure. Again, this is a zoom out. This is a zoom out here. So there's a timeline down here, and I'm not sure even what that timeline is. So I'm trying to scrub it. I'm trying to move this. Again, this is the editing system. This is a system I'm not familiar with at all. So we're taking it back to the beginning of here. So and this down here says 2 hours. And then, okay, let me try to expand this. Okay, April. So the shooting took place on April 21st. Okay, let me see if I can try to move forward. Sorry, folks. Yeah, we're unable to fix whatever this system, how they use it on this camera, don't have it. So I mean on this system. So here's what we're going to do. We're gonna work with this video. We're going to take it back to our control room. We're headed back to DC tonight. We're going to go back to our control room. We're going to put this through a different editing software, which is going to allow us to pull this video up. And then so on tomorrow's show, we're going to do a full breakdown of this video and show you exactly what it is showing. My apologies. We did not know what form they were sending the video in. It's not in traditional video files, so we're not sure exactly in terms of what's going on with it. And so that's where we are, folks. And so we do have it. This is the video that the city provided to us. So on tomorrow's Roland Martin Unfiltered, we're gonna have a full breakdown of this video and we'll have it in complete playback. We'll be able to record it properly. And do that, and so the video is on the DVD. We have it. Nothing is deleted. You can't delete from a DVD player. Don't be cute with it, folks. So that's where we are. And so, for all y'all saying no, the issue is not that it's a PC. The problem is the video is not normally how you pull up video files. Okay, and so it's a whole different way they have the videos on here. You have to import them into an editing system, and that's what we have. So we're gonna sit here and handle this for you tomorrow.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. And folks, what you're hearing, a recurring theme here. And that is how conditions are in this city of 17,000 people. In a moment, we're going to play for you an interview that I just conducted literally not even an hour ago with one of the 6 black council members here in Elizabeth City. Now, keep in mind, this is one of the issues that you face here in Elizabeth City. You have the city, 50%. It's pretty much half and half, but African Americans are a majority on the city council. Okay, the city council voted, unanimous that calling for the release of the video. The problem is dealing with the county. Okay, now you're dealing with white control in this area here, and so that's what the battle that is going on here. So you get the city, African Americans in control. Now you got the county, whites are in control, and so the racial dynamic exist here. You've got folks who've talked about how the issues they've had with policing on the county side, but then you see a significant number of black cops on the city side. That's the dynamic that is going on here. Here is my interview with the councilman. Brooks, how long have you been the councilman here in Elizabeth City?
12 years.
12 years. And this is your ward?
This is my ward.
So let's talk about what you've been trying to do to change this city and change this county.
Well, one of the things I try to do is get cameras so I can see the whole length of Roanoke, because the streets just come off of Roanoke. This is a busy highway, and you have a elementary school and a social service building and a lot of traffic. So I've been trying to get security cameras on this so you can see the whole length of Roanoke. And it's been a tedious process, but progress I hope to be making.
So when you talk about that, security cameras, so we have the security camera here. We're going to walk down here and see that. So this here is the camera at the city that picks up. So the camera is pointed in 2 different directions, right?
Yes.
So this particular this camera here was able to shoot the video here. And what you're saying, had they got the cameras in that direction, it would have gotten the shooting from all angles.
Exactly, because this camera goes down from here to that part of Roanoke. As I see it here, it look like it's showing down that end of Roanoke and that part of Perry Street. But from here back to where the elementary school is and social service building, I don't know if the camera can pick up from there. But if we had them there, because we had a break-in on a house beside the social service building a couple of months ago, and I was talking security cameras then. So if they had them then, it would have picked up all the video from when they landed in the tree, and this would have picked up over there, and we wouldn't have to go through the tedious process of trying to get the body cams from the deputy sheriff, the one that shot, and I say the term loosely, murdered this guy, because you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Now the city, so this is a city camera.
Yes.
And they made us put in the Freedom of Information request to get it. Why hasn't the city just simply posted it so the public could actually see their video?
That I do not know. It's just like when this first happened, and we should have released what we had, because this city, this is the 3rd ward, this city is part of the county. So to help the investigation along and let the family know that we are in their corner, we should have released what we know, unless there was implications behind it, and that I don't know.
Talk about how long have you lived here? Because you said you retired from the military and moved here.
Yes, came back here in 1988.
And so, give folks a sense of what this city is like when it comes to race relations, the relationship between the city and the county, because others have said that you've got significant black representation on the city council. The problem is when you have white control in the county level.
It might be so, and I don't want to dig in that too much, but this is the only time that we have that many. We have out of 9, to include the mayor, we have 6 council people that's black and 3 of them that's white. So that's the first time we ever had those numbers. With the, as far as the race relations, it's probably you in the South. So you're going to have those issues. But what happened is that I've never seen it, even coming up as a kid, to explode in the way that it has exploded now. That's not good. That's not good. So we need to bring the process along with it as fast as we can, but as thorough as we can, without the family having to experience all this pain with every heartbeat intensified. So that's what the issue. So to answer the question you asked me, it's probably some deep-rooted racism, but it don't come out, because this could have that look of racism too, because I don't know if you had any, I know that 7 supposed to have been on administrative leave, but the fact is that no one can absorb. It's almost as bad as them choking Eric Garner or them having a knee on George Floyd's neck. They shot this man while he was trying to get away with his life. You know, it's the same thing. You shoot him in the head execution style. What would have been the backlash if Charbon had just turned George Floyd over and shot him in the head execution style? You know, so we got to think on terms of that. That's bad. This is bad. This is not good. And in a small town, a southern town, I don't know how long it would take for us to recover from this, because this is tragic. Yeah.
How problematic is it for you how silent the district attorney has been, and essentially the sheriff's office seems like they're investigating themselves?
And you know, and that becomes a problem. And I will listen at the attorney for the family. And what bothered me is that the way they say that the county attorney talked to them. And he talked to them as if they were somebody off the street, and they say they have never heard anyone talk to them like that again. That is a troubling thought, because you'll do that with someone as nationally recognized as the attorneys that have come down now. Imagine what the attorneys that's in this town, that people of color probably have to experience. That's very heartbreaking, because it don't supposed to be like that. I don't. It's a loved one has lost their life, you know, and in a sense like this, there's no doubt that the first step, when you don't have no solid evidence for what you did, you start trying to assassinate someone's character. You try to assassinate character. When they start trying to assassinate this character, you know, that means that they don't think they have enough evidence that's solid enough to prove what they did. I really believe that, and that's my opinion, you know, and I won't back off from it, because I've seen enough of it. And I tell you right now, I told them a lot of times, sitting on council for 12 years, I've been arrested 4 times. But I want to go through that, because we're off topic. But I think that was a tragedy, and it's almost a disgrace and disrespectful with the slow pace that they are trying to do the investigation. I believe in thoroughness, but don't let justice ride on the back of a turtle. and tell the family to maintain your patience, and tell these people that's supporting the family out there, some of them out there most of the day supporting the family, don't tell them to, okay, we want to be peaceful when pain is steady, intensified in your chest because you lost a loved one.
All right. I appreciate it, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Let's just double check again. First name, last name.
Michael Brooks, Councilman, 3rd Ward.
All right. I got it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And that was, again, Councilman Michael Brooks there, and we certainly appreciate that. One of I think you see this recurring theme, Ben. You see that people here, and talking to other people, they said, hey, you know what? Folks here, they aren't very aggressive. They're not necessarily going to be out here acting upset. But people are also saying that this could very well be the catalyst to affect change. That district attorney, he's also running for a Superior Court judge against an African American. So I think what you're going to find is, where this all of a sudden could very well be an election issue for that DA.
Absolutely. And you absolutely know that they're playing politics with this, because that's just the nature of the beast. But to play politics with the pain, like the council member Michael Brooks just stated, they're playing politics with the pain of family members who are grieving the loss of a loved one. And I think, to put it into even more context, we really have to understand that this is a long-standing game that has been played on the American people, on black people in specific, because we have been the recipients and the receiving end of the police state for so many generations. And we've seen time and again that no matter how much evidence we bring to bear, no matter what videos we see, we still have an entire institution of people dead set on making sure that we do not get justice.
Absolutely. Got to go to a break right now, folks. When we come back, we're going to hear from a family in High Point, North Carolina, whose son was killed at a church 6 months later. No answers. We're broadcasting live from Elizabeth City, folks. Take the drone shot here. This is the scene where Andrew Brown Jr. Was shot and killed, and you see the community place these candles out here. These candles spelling out his name here in the driveway at Drew. So that's where we are. All right, folks. Back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Let's talk about Elizabeth City, North Carolina, where today a North Carolina judge denied the media's request to release the 4 body cam videos in the case of Andrew Brown Jr. But Judge Jeffrey Foster did rule the videos from multiple body cameras and footage from one dashboard camera must be shown to Brown's family within the next 10 days.
The court is going to find that with regard to the media's request for release, that The media is not a party contemplated under 132-1.4G for release. But if they were, and it was appropriate to release to them, the court undertook the analysis under G with regard to release of recordings and finds that there is evidence that the release would advance a compelling public interest. There is evidence that the recording contains information that is otherwise confidential or exempt from disclosure or release under state or federal law. The court finds that the petitioner is not a person requesting or seeking to obtain evidence to determine legal issues in a current or potential court proceeding. The court finds, number 4, that it would reveal information regarding a person that is of a highly sensitive and personal nature. Number 5, that the release may harm the reputation or jeopardize the safety of a person. Number 6, that the release would create a serious threat to the fair, impartial, and orderly administration of justice. And number 7, that confidentiality is necessary at this point to protect an active internal and criminal investigation or potential internal and criminal investigation. The court therefore finds that that good cause does not exist for granting the petition of the media petitioners, and therefore that petition is respectfully denied by the court. That is my ruling. I'm going to prepare a order to that effect, and that will be prepared sometime this week, and I'll get that out to you in a formal written format at that time. All right. With regard to 21 CVS 261, the petition of the Pasquotank Sheriff's Department to release records to Khalil Farabee, who is the adult son of the deceased Mr. Brown. The court's going to find as follows, that this matter is properly before the court on the petition to release. To the extent that notice was required, notice was given by with Mr. Williams agreeing to hear the matter on behalf of his clients, but reserving his objection for lack of notice. The court has jurisdiction in this matter pursuant to GS 132-1.4A and all subparts. After hearing the arguments for the petitioner and the response from the district attorney for this judicial district and counsel for the respondents of all interested parties, the court finds as follows. 1, that the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department is a custodial law enforcement agency as that term is defined in the statute. Number 2, that Khalil Farabee is a personal representative under 132-1.4C4, and he's a proper person to whom the subject videos may be disclosed. The court considering the factors enumerated in subsection D of the statute. Number 4, that the court additionally considers the release of the video. In addition to disclosure, which the court finds is appropriate, I've also considered release under the statute using the same 8 criteria. And the court finds that, number 1, the release is a compelling public interest. Number 2, that the recording contains information that is otherwise confidential or exempt from disclosure or release under state or federal law. Number 3, the person requesting release is seeking to obtain evidence to determine legal issues in a current or potential court proceeding. But number 4, the court finds that release would reveal information regarding a person that is of a highly sensitive personal nature. The court finds, number 5, that the release may harm the reputation or jeopardize the safety of a person by release. Number 6, that the release at this time would create a serious threat to the fair, impartial, and orderly administration of justice. Number 7, confidentiality is necessary to protect either an active internal or criminal investigation or a potential internal or criminal investigation. Based on those findings, pending completion of the investigation and any decision regarding the prosecution of the potential defendant, the court orders as follows. That the 5 body camera videos be disclosed to Khalil Farabee and his immediate family within 1 degree of kinship and 1 attorney licensed to practice law in the state of North Carolina. That is disclosure. That the video be held from release for a period of no less than 30 days and no more than 45 days. And that will allow completion of any investigation being undertaken by the SBI and by the District Attorney's Office in this county. Number 3, that the state is to notify the court when such investigation is completed, and the court in its discretion will consider at that time further release of the video based on the factors as they exist at that time. The disclosure of the video shall occur within 10 days, and the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department is ordered to blur or redact all facial and identifying features of the officers shown prior to disclosure. That means facial features, name tags, any identifying information of those officers prior to disclosure. The court in its final order in this matter will specify the time frames within which the video may be disclosed. In viewing the video, there were certain portions of the video that were conversations between officers, between superiors. I'm going to evaluate those videos, determine which portions are appropriate for release and or for disclosure, I'm sorry, and then we'll provide that in my order so that the videos can be properly prepared to be disclosed to the family. All that to be accomplished within the next 10 days.
Judge Foster will reconsider whether to release the videos in 30 to 45 days after the State Bureau of Investigation completes its investigation and a charging decision is made. Also during the hearing, DA Andrew Womble claimed the video showed Brown hitting officers with his car. Also, the FBI is launching a civil rights probe into the death of Andrew Brown Jr. Joining us right now is one of the attorneys for the family, Harry Daniels. He joins us right now. Harry, this is it's very interesting what took place today. We live streamed the hearing, and I swear the DA sounded more like the defense attorney for the officers, as opposed to an impartial person whose job is to get justice regardless of who is involved.
Roland, you're 100% right. I have the same impression. The district attorney is supposed to be the ambassador of justice. He sound like the defense attorney. I have never, in all my years of practicing law, saw anything that I saw today. The county attorney stands up, make a half effort. The district attorney gets up and he goes for almost 30 minutes as though he's the defense attorney. And the potential defense attorney for the officers, they kind of joined in together against the county. Never seen that in my life.
The judge said they must show this video to the family within 10 days. Is that 10 business days or 10 total days? And when does the clock start? Is it tomorrow?
Well, in court, it's 10 total days. Courts don't have 10 business days. From 10 days, it can run through the weekend. It doesn't matter. 10 days is 10 days.
So that means so who decides they get to see the video? The sheriff's department or the district attorney?
No, pursuant to the statute, if you are a personal representative based on the statute, you get to see the video. So we have identifiable personal representatives pursuant to the statute, and those individuals will have the opportunity to see the video.
Right. No. What I'm saying is, but who shows the video? Is it the DA's office or is it the sheriff's department?
The sheriff's office.
So today is today is the 28th. So they must, based upon that deadline, the family must see these videos by May 8th.
That's correct. The judge said he had to look at some further redactions as it relates to maybe communication, identifying people's name, and or obviously faces and name tags. But you got to remember, Roland, it's a video of these individuals driving up on a truck like a mob squad. So people already know who they are based on that video.
And we're talking about a city of 17,000 people, and of course in the county as well. And so let's slow down. When the judge said that 30 to 45 days in terms of then it should be made released to the public. So now we're talking about that video may very well not come out until either the end of May or mid-June.
10 days, 45. I mean,
well, no. So the 10 days is when the family gets to see it. I'm talking about when it may very well get released to the public.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. It may be end of June, maybe July, and so there's no guarantee with that based on what the judge stated before in his order.
The governor has called for a special prosecutor. Can you explain to our viewers and listeners exactly what the North Carolina statute is? Because I was talking to Reverend Dr. William J. Barber when I was down there, as well as today, and he said that the DA has to ask the AG to take it over. The AG simply doesn't have the authority to take it over.
That's correct. Actually, I talked to the Attorney General, Josh Stein, a couple of days back, and he expressed to me that in North Carolina, the district attorney has original jurisdiction, and the Attorney General cannot take it over just because. The Attorney General more than likely will appoint a special prosecutor in order to do so. But in North Carolina, the DA has jurisdiction, and it has to be requested by the DA in order for that to happen. So that is correct.
Are you and the other lawyers, are you asking this district attorney, Andrew Womble, to recuse himself and for him to invite in the state attorney general to take over this case?
We need an independent prosecution away from Pasquotank County. You're talking about deputy sheriffs involved, and we believe to be an unjustified shooting, and you have the district attorney, in fact, is a prosecuting officer using the situation, Roland. You would have judges in that county recuse themselves, or they would send the case to another county because it's so closely knitted and related to that particular county. So yes, we are asking for an independent prosecutor appointed by the governor, appointed by the state.
In terms of the next step, obviously the protests continue. My understanding that a group of pastors, they are planning to have a march on Sunday. The funeral is a funeral for Andrew Brown Jr. still slated to take place on Monday.
Yes, it is. It's still slated to take place on Monday. Monday, I believe, 12 o'clock. And one thing, Roland, I want to say that I listened to this district attorney talks about a car, Andrew, a car making contact with one of the deputies while he was backing up. Well, Roland, he was backing up and the officer was trying to open the door. Officer's going to make contact. And then he went forward and made contact again. What you did not hear is that Andrew Brown used that car as a weapon. Contact, weapon, two different things. Two different things. So let me get that very clear. And for this public to understand, Andrew Brown was shot in the back of his head while he was driving away. Bullets riddled his car in the rear while he was driving away. Point blank, that's the facts. The autopsy shows the bullet wounds in the back of his head. That's the fact. So this narrative, this cherry picking that this DA is doing, I don't know if he's trying to taint the jury, but that's his whole thing, that he didn't want to taint the investigation. They want to taint the jury. But the only person that was tainting the investigation and tainting the jury today was the elected district attorney, Andrew Womble.
Here's the question. Who actually is running the investigation?
We don't know. I mean, as far as investigation, they say the SBI is running the investigation. The FBI is in now for a probe as well. So you may have to earn investigations. One thing I would tell you that the county officials in Pasquotank County, as it relates to the county, the sheriff, and the district attorney, they are incompetent. The argument that I saw today from the district attorney, it was appalling and disgusting. Then the position he took to try to admonish one of the members of our legal teams based on the video that she was given, the 20 seconds redaction is appalling. He should have never done that. And we are in defense of her. She's truthful. She has character, and she's very professional. She has no reason to lie, to agitate. Ms. Lasser is a fine lawyer, point blank period, a fine attorney.
So we don't know right now. We don't know if the district attorney is leading the investigation, if the State Bureau of Investigation is leading it. Is somebody going to come out and lay claim to, so we people know exactly who's doing what? When I was at the home of Andrew Brown Jr., where he lives, we showed the video yesterday. I interviewed the landlord. 2 investigators with the SBI stopped by there to try to see if there were video cameras that were on the inside, and those cameras were removed. And so, again, what's crazy is, who do you point to? Who's actually the folks to talk to? There's been no public statement. No one has come out to say, we are in charge of this investigation. If you have any information, contact us.
Roland, what the SBI actually stated today in court, that they had no objections to the release of this video. If they are the investigatory body and they have no objection, why does the district attorney have objections?
Wait, hold on. So in court today, the State Bureau of Investigation says they don't object to the video.
The sheriff don't object, and the State Bureau of Investigation had no objection. They made no representation, but they didn't object. They had no objection to the release of the video. If the investigatory body, investigation, has no problem objecting, why the hell is the district attorney having a problem getting this video released out to the public? And to add to the point about these cameras that were located at Mr. Brown's house, well, the SBI is in charge of investigation. SBI said we didn't get any cameras. The landlord said, yeah, it was cameras there. So the question is, Roland, who took the camera?
Yeah, and in fact, I talked to that landlord yesterday, and what he told me was, he said there were two cameras. There was a Ring camera, and there was a second camera. He said those cameras have been removed. He does not know who took the cameras and who possesses the cameras.
Correct. And the SBI investigation, they're very interested in those cameras. I'm not making any suggestion on anybody else, but the only people who was on the scene at that time and security scene was the Pasquotank County Sheriff Office. So where's the cameras? Where's those cameras? They couldn't take the city cameras because the city maintained the custodial possession. Those cameras were released. They didn't take the cell phone footage after the fact when they drug Mr. Brown out of the car after they had shot him dead. But anything in close proximity, it's not there. The body cams, the dash cam, now we have the Ring, the doorbell cam, and the other camera is missing because the doorbell cam and the Ring cam is not a possession or footage by law enforcement. If that camera is in the possession of the county, they must turn it over immediately because it's subject to the Public Record Open Records Act.
Right, and how in the world can the Sheriff's Department be investigating themselves? That's why there's so many different questions here that need to be answered. Harry Daniels, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Roland.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I'm real clear what we're facing, folks, and we just have to understand that. Let's go to North Carolina, where a sheriff has put 4 officers involved in the shooting death of Andrew Brown Jr. back on active duty. Sheriff Tommy Wooten announced he reinstated 4 out of 7 in the press release, stating, after reviewing the preliminary conclusions of the independent investigators conducting the internal review, and after carefully examining the body camera footage of the incident with my own staff, it's obvious that 4 of the deputies never fired their weapons and deserve to be reinstated to active duty. The other 3 deputies will remain on leave until investigations are completed. Now, recently discovered Facebook post. Now, first of all, before I go talk about the judge, I want you to go back to that statement, please. Pull it up. Here's what's a trip here, Jason. Mm-hmm. He says, after reviewing the preliminary conclusions of the independent investigators conducting the internal review. First of all, the sheriff has never announced who these independent investigators are. So how do we know they're independent? Mm-hmm. Right. Like, seriously. Right. I mean, like we don't know. I don't. Who the hell are the independent people?
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, and that's the thing with this whole situation
is the fact that there's no transparency. You know, they show a little small, what is it, a 30-second clip to the family?
20
but
seconds.
They don't show them,
20 seconds.
You know, 20 seconds. They don't show them the larger context. The family is not allowed to do, they're saying they did a careful review. Why can't the family, or at least their attorneys, go in there and also do a careful review? Transparency is key. And particularly if you're trying to gain the trust of your community as a police executive, one of the first things you should be concerned with is transparency. And it's completely lacking here. He's like, yeah, we had some folks look at it and I looked at it. So I'm just going to absolve, you know, more than half of the officers involved. And that's not gaining any confidence from anybody in his community, particularly the African-American people, that justice is going to be done either now or in the future. So I think this is a terrible, terrible way that this sheriff is handling this. And hopefully people will take note in other parts of the country and see how important transparency is. That's why you have the body camera, is so that the rest of us can feel safe. And if only a select few people are able to review it, then it's like it's not even there.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
We're in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and we got possession of you just heard Harry mention the video. We could not play it yesterday. We had to bring it back here. Now we were able to play the video. Now, remember yesterday I showed you that camera that was actually pointed. It was two cameras. One pointed in different. They were pointing different directions. This is the video from the Elizabeth City Police Department. Listen to the audio on here as well. Guys, go ahead and play it. The problem. So look, this is the first piece of video that we've actually been able to see. This is the problem with the video. As you see, the camera picks up the traffic that is coming on the main road. The problem, guys, start the video over. The problem that you have here with this video. So I want y'all to start it over. I want y'all to start it over, okay? I want you to start it over. Go from the top. Start over, please. Go back to the top. Okay, so no. Go back to the beginning. I'll tell you when to play it. Guys, go back to the beginning. I'll tell you when to play it. So what you see is, okay, again, stop, okay? And what you see here, you see this Ford sheriff's truck, all right, carrying what appears to be 6 or 7 officers. I know there's one driving, not sure if there's another person in the passenger seat. Now, roll it, then stop it.
Stop. So you see right there, this now is the side profile of the vehicle. And now there is a portion of this, there's a gap that is missing. It's a short gap that is missing in this video. You see, now play it, then stop it. Stop. So you see the officer. If there's any way we can bump in on that video, I would appreciate it. But the bottom line is, you see the tailgate is open. You see several officers on the several deputy sheriffs on the back of that truck. The problem is how that camera is positioned. You're going to see, now roll the video and then stop it. Stop. So that's where we were yesterday, okay? They are approaching that driveway while I was broadcasting the show. Roll it, then stop it. Okay, right there. So the problem is this here. You do not, that camera is not a wide angle lens. It is only capturing the intersection in both directions. It's not actually capturing what happens once they get out of the vehicle. Now, turn the audio up and then press play. Now, what you're seeing is, let it keep rolling, and so you're seeing a vehicle. There was a white police car that pulled up behind him. There's another police car, a police truck that is actually blocking the intersection, and so that's what you're seeing here. Turn the audio up, please. I want you to let the keep video rolling, please. The Bar Association Political Action Committee, Robert Patillo, Executive Director, Rainbow Push Coalition, Peachtree Street Project, Monique Presley, Legal Analyst and Crisis Manager. Again, keep the video rolling, please. I want you to keep it rolling. So I want to start. With you, Robert. Looking at this, so again, part of the problem is we are not able to see in that top right-hand corner exactly what took place. Based upon what the family attorney said, the officers came out. Now, folks, did the video pause? Did it freeze? Because I still hear audio. Okay, so not sure why it's on a freeze frame here. But, Robert, just your assessment of what we know and don't know right now.
Well, it was great to hear from Harry Daniels, who I've worked with before. I think Bakari Sellers is also working on the case, so it's an outstanding legal team representing the family. But what we saw was a legal lynch mob. We saw them ride in on the back of the pickup trucks like something out of Mississippi Burning, and then attack this man. Look at the amount of police presence for what ostensibly was a drug warrant. Not for Osama bin Laden, not for the Unabomber, but for a drug warrant. You're sitting in trucks and vehicles to capture this individual. Additionally, let's look at what the independent autopsy has shown us. You have, I believe, 3 to 4 bullet wounds into the arm and then a shot to the back of the head, nearly execution style. Even given the testimony or the statements by the district attorney's office taken in the light most reasonable or that puts the prosecution, or more so that puts the officers in the best light, they are alleging that they were touched by the vehicle. Not that anyone was injured or run over, but they made contact with the vehicle, and that justified a bullet hole to the back of the head. None of this is making sense. I think the judge is showing a due discretion in waiting to release the body cam footage. The reason being is I wouldn't want this to go all the way to trial, let's say, and then they say, well, because the body cam image in the police squad car footage was released so early that somehow that tainted the jury, somehow that makes it more difficult for the prosecution later on down the line to prosecute the case. So I do believe the judge made the right ruling in that case, but we do have additional questions. We all know anybody who has a Ring doorbell knows that records to a cloud, not to the device. So where is the video footage from the cloud that was recorded on that doorbell, and when will all this information be released both to the family and to the public? This is a tragic case, and it's another instance where thank God there's video evidence, because otherwise we would only have the testimony of the police officers, and we have seen for decades now that the police officers are always believed over the decedent.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Earlier, we had an opportunity to actually show where they are headed, where these protesters are headed. Where they headed is to the home of Andrew Brown Jr. Anthony and I went by there earlier with Wayne Kendall, one of the lawyers on this case, and he took us through and described at the scene what took place on Wednesday. Here is that interview. All right, folks, we're here with attorney Wayne Kendall. He's a part of the legal team for the Andrew Brown Jr. family. We are here at his home. This is where the shooting took place. Wayne, take us through what happened.
Mr. Brown was in his car, in his vehicle, in this driveway, with the front of the vehicle facing the street.
So the front of the vehicle was facing this way?
It's facing Paris Street, which is the street you're standing at. He was sitting in the car when the sheriff's deputies rolled up in pickup trucks and other police vehicles, and apparently they started giving commands, and he to put his hands up or put his hands where they could see him. He put his hands on the steering wheel.
So do you know if the police came from this direction or this direction?
My understanding is they came from this direction off Roland.
So they came from this direction here, so they pulled up right in front of here.
That's correct.
Which means that when they pulled up, they could actually see him.
Right.
He was facing them.
He was facing them. And apparently, at some point, they started shooting through the vehicle. And my understanding was that they were using a 223 AR-15 assault-style rifle as well as handguns. And when that happened, he started to back up. You see the mud on the side of the home over there?
Right.
That's
So
the home he resided in.
So let's walk over here. So what you're saying is he's facing that way. They come up. So he decides to start backing up. And so we see some tire tracks right here.
What happened is, if you look carefully at these tire tracks, you'll see over here that this is a double tire track. He backed up, and then he started to go forward. This is a double tire track. You see a line of grass through the track. So there's a double tire track here. He started spinning out and shooting mud up onto the side of the house.
Right.
If you follow the tire tracks,
so his car.
You can see a second tire track right here.
So he backed up there, and then all of a sudden he starts trying to drive way through here.
And you drive through here, and you can see follow the tire track, and then the car swerves and crashes into that tree over there in Mr. Gordon's yard.
So he crashed. So he came across here.
Right.
And he crashed into that tree over there.
Crashed into that tree, and all the time he was driving across here, they were shooting into the vehicle.
Right. So this is so he came across here and he crashed into that tree over there.
Crashed into that tree over there, and they were shooting into the vehicle.
And so the vehicle came to a rest against that tree.
Against that tree. And they were shooting into the vehicle reportedly. From the witness that I talked to, and apparently from the video that our co-counsel saw today, they were continuously shooting into the vehicle, and officers were standing out in this grassy field here as he was rolling across. He had lost control of the car after being hit, and he was hit in the back of the neck and in the back of the head, and some other bullet wounds in other parts of his body like his arms. And he crashed into that tree. And my understanding from the witness that was looking from that house down there, that greenhouse, is that he crashed into that tree, and then they went around the vehicle and continued to shoot into the vehicle.
Even after he had crashed?
Even after he had crashed.
Now the witness you're talking about, she knew him well. And he had sent her a text. Tell me about that.
Well, my understanding is that he sent her a text at 8:20 a.m. on last Wednesday, and at 8:26 he was deceased.
So it took 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
From the moment he texted her to
he was over here under this tree, deceased with bullet wounds in his head, in the back of his head.
So they've only showed 20 seconds of video. So the whole encounter very well was in the 5 to 6 minute range.
I don't know if it took that long.
Right.
I doubt if it took that long, because my understanding is that he texted her at 8:20, and then by the time she got to her window to look out to see if he was walking toward her house, because she thought he was coming to her house.
Because he often did that.
He often did that. She's married to a significant other with his cousin, and he would always sometimes visit her in her house with his cousin. She thought he might have been coming over to visit. So she looked out the window to see if he was walking toward her house. And that's when she saw his vehicle sitting in this parking pad here. And by the same time that she saw the vehicle sitting in the parking pad, she sees the sheriff pull up. And when she sees the sheriff's vehicles pull up, shortly after that, she sees him bag his vehicle up and spin out across this vacant lot and end up into that tree, and it traumatized her so much. She's an epilepsy sufferer, She has been having continuous seizures. As a result, she says she cannot go to sleep. She cannot close her eyes. She's been traumatized by the event. She knew him well. And she's now, she was crying when she was recounting the story to me this morning. And it was last Wednesday, almost a week ago. And she said she can't get this out of her head. She's been having continuous seizures. And that she's at a loss to how to cope with all of this. Now you see that house over there. You see you see that 500. You see that dark spot at 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
that's one of the bullet holes. Went through his house.
Wow. Well, somebody in that house could have been injured or killed.
Went into his home. He allowed a Fox News person to come in. That bullet went through a wall and hit a pot on his stove.
Wow.
Yes.
It's a miracle somebody else wasn't injured or killed.
Exactly. You can see how close these homes are. And these guys were out here with high-powered 223. This was told to us today, that they were out here with AR-15 assault-style rifles shooting in this neighborhood.
And they were allegedly executing a search warrant, a drug warrant, arrest warrant.
An arrest warrant is what I've seen. I've seen an arrest warrant. I don't know about a search warrant.
Got it.
We hadn't seen a search warrant yet, but people have reported that they had a search warrant. I don't know if they had a search warrant.
Got it. Okay. All right. We appreciate it.
All right. I'm gonna go to
all right, thanks a lot.
I need to talk to you.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.